morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well today and you're ready to start your week with me, Mohammed Maktoub, and the wonderful Shazad Khan. And my hair's gone crazy today. How are you, Shazad?
I'm absolutely perfect. Assalamu alaikum to everybody who's out there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, time to rise and shine, wake and bake. You have to get up, get all the energy, and please make sure that today you actually have to make a promise to your own self, and that is that today you're going to take advantage of all of this time which has been given to you by Allah Almighty and the God, for all those people who believe in God and for all those people who believe in Allah, that you're going to bring about a change. Just one change in your life can actually be a miraculous thing which might be happening to you today as well. And you soulfully are responsible for that. Please make sure that you do it and in the best of ways.
Exactly.
What about you, Ma? You don't look fine.
No, I've actually been really unwell. I actually came to the show, wasn't feeling very well, wasn't going to sit on the show, but then I felt left out. So I was like, I'm here in the office, so I might as well at least, be here, be with the, because also it cheers me up being at work.
And today, Ma, we've got a very special show as
very
well.
sick today,
ladies and gentlemen, because for all those people who actually wrote to us on our Facebook pages or Twitter page, and they were saying that, your 23rd March transmission was fabulous. Indeed, we even got a repeat transmission on the other day as well, which was on 24th March. I think that's what it says, that the show was amazing and it was beautiful as well. But today, ladies and gentlemen, in between these tri-services, we have picked up on one of these services, which I always love the most. I've got a story to share about it, and that is that when I was in my 7th grade, I think, and I always wanted to join the armed forces, but I wasn't really correct intellectually. I think that's what I would love to say over here. I'm not going to say that I was weak in studies. So what happens that, there's a school with the name of, I think it's Lower Topa Air College, that's what the name is, or Fasaya Air College, that's what it is, because a lot of students were going and I always wanted to be a part of the Air Force. Because I've always loved flying airplanes, but, unfortunately, I wasn't intellectually correct, right? So what happened was, earlier I had to be in a debate with my family, saying that, I want to join this school because eventually I want to be in Air Force, I want to be a part of Air Force. That's what I always wanted to. Whenever I used to sleep, I used to get these dreams where I'm flying F-16s and whatnot.
I always wanted to join the Air Force as well.
Really? And whatnot. And it was always very attractive for me, those Ray-Bans as well, those aviator shades and the entire kit you get. So whatever it was very interesting for me. But other than that, I couldn't make it. So now when I couldn't make it, what I did was that I obviously had to shift on to other mission or a goal which I might have for my own life, which is very important as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we today are dedicating our show to the Air Force as well, and we are going to discuss what goes, probably behind the scene of 23rd March, because they start training from 1st of March, and the rehearsals keep on going till 21st, and then on 23rd it's the game day. But other than that, Pakistan Air Force is known to be one of the finest air forces over here within the world as well. This was the very first Air Force on the entire globe who actually started manufacturing their own jets as well. So there are quite a lot of accomplishments which we need to acknowledge. But before that, we've got our headlines for today.
You've introduced the show already.
Well, a bit of anticipation.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But,
and sorry, my hair doesn't look good as well because we are short of hairspray over here in the studio.
Great.
So probably tomorrow.
But before we start the conversation, because it's a fascinating topic and something that we're all going to learn from today, but we are going to do our headlines.
Yeah.
So, I will start. A delegation of Independent Permanent Human Rights Commission arrived to Pakistan today to gain first-hand understanding of Jammu and Kashmir dispute.
Okay, it might be a very good omen and the news looks good, but for all those people who just arrived today, I mean, why did it take so long for you guys to really understand that, okay, what the core issue is? That's quite a lot in the face as well, but I'm sorry for that. But you kind of need to realize it, that, what was going on, what the history was like. So please don't come up with such news.
Okay, right. Well, I mean, at least, but it's a good thing, and it's good for people of Kashmir, and, all that.
I can get into
terrible
trouble
things.
for that.
Exactly. Okay, so now, also the Finance Minister, Sardar, has said overseas Pakistanis are keen to take advantage of investment opportunities within Pakistan, and the government will facilitate them in all possible ways. So this is wonderful news.
And I've even seen it recently that, since the time CPEC has actually picked up China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, quite a lot of countries and people from other countries want to invest over here, and the return's going to be great. So for all those people who are expats, I think this is the time for you guys to invest in your own country.
So let's do the third.
All right, so moving on, ladies and gentlemen, since everybody knows that the census has been going on and it's the sixth national census which is actually taking place. So population and household count in first phase of sixth national population census in 63 districts of country concludes today. All right, so now they're
Wonderful.
probably going to look for other districts where they have to actually work and do all the counting. But for all those people who are out there, and when you're going to see a representative of the national census, please make sure that you offer him a seat to sit and then a glass of water. It's getting hotter day by day.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think please try to be good humans.
Yes.
And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, since we are a cricketing nation, Pakistan beat world champions West Indies by 6 wickets in first T20 or 4-match series in Barbados. Wow. I think that's a good news for us too as well after PSL.
Okay, so that's wonderful. That's a wrap up of the headlines for today. And
But-
Shahzad is going to introduce to you our guest.
But I think we've got a public service message, and
Yes.
then we have got a national song which is dedicated to the Air Force as well. All right, but right now, public service message, ladies and gentlemen, and I think it is very important. So one day, what happened? I went to Polo Club with my daughter. My daughter's 3 years old.
She's so
So what
cute.
happens is whenever you go out with your kids, there are other people as well. Very mature people, there are older people, and then there are young people. Everybody might try to come, and they might be feeling all right, or there might not be anything wrong with them. But eventually what happens is that when somebody starts touching your kid, or probably comes closer by saying, oh, she's so cute, or he's so cute, and gives them a kiss, you need to make sure that your kids understand that it can only be your mom or dad who can kiss you, nobody else.
Absolutely.
Because you can never ever trust who might be there right in front of you.
Exactly.
So I think that's a very important public service message, and you need to train your own kids in that respect.
Exactly. So now that's our public service message, but we're going to get the conversation started. But first, we're going to share with you a song based on the Air Force, and then when you come back, we'll introduce you our guest.
I'm excited.
जुनून में तू हर दिल गरमाते खून में तू हर जोश में तू है जुनून में तू हर दिल गरमाते खून में तू ऐ पाक वतन हम तेरे जवान तेरे जवान तेरे जवान हाजिर है दिल हाजिर है जान ऐ पाक वतन हम तेरे जवान हाजिर है दिल हाजिर है जान हम तुझ पे निछावर कर देंगे ये गरम लहू अल्लाह 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 उसके असूल हम शह पर पाक फिजाओं के इस मुल्क की खातिर जान देंगे अल्लाह 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 अल्लाह
Welcome back, everyone. And for everyone who's just joined us, that was a little teaser for what we're going to be discussing today. Today, we are discussing Pakistan Air Force. What is the situation? How does people get involved? Also, we're going to be talking about the female pilots as well, because as we know, 23rd day parade just happened, and there was a wonderful display as well, and we will be sharing all those images.
And for that, ladies and gentlemen, we are very lucky to be joined by Mr. Air Marshal Retired Yusuf Chaudhry. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you so much
joining
for
us
joining
today,
us.
sir. And it's a complete honor to be sitting right beside the fighter pilot, obviously.
Yes.
But to get started with the conversation, there's one thing which I would love you to share with our audience, and that is that for example, I mean, I can say that we have the best Air Force without a doubt. I can say that we are the first one to ever produce fighter jets as well and whatnot. I can keep on counting that. But when it's going to come from you, I think it's going to be more authentic and you can share all of those experiences which you've been through as well. So how do you think you're going to elaborate or explain to the audience out there or to the entire globe what Air Force of Pakistan is capable of and what do you think we can even do?
I think we have been very lucky as a nation that in the beginning we had political as well as military leadership, which was very dynamic, which was very visionary, which was very committed.
All right.
Pakistan Air Force was lucky because on April 1948, Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah went to Risalpur. Then it used to be flying training school at Risalpur. We started immediately after getting independence because we knew an Air Force would be as good as its training institutions would be. So we set up Academy immediately, but it was known as flying school.
All right.
And I really appreciate the vision of a gentleman. Being a civilian, I think he had vision then. What is the importance of air power in future warfare? He made a long speech, but I will quote 3 or 4 sentences. He said, without any doubt, a country without a strong air force is at the mercy of an aggressor. Therefore, Pakistan must build its air force as early as possible, which should be efficient and second to none.
All right.
Unfortunately, he was saying that the man who was commanding that school, the best officer we had in Pakistan inventory, that was then Wing Commander Asar Khan. And it was coincidence that father of the nation was talking to father of the Air Force. When in 1957, Air Marshal Asar Khan took over the command of Pakistan Air Force, he had that instructions of the father of the nation.
All right.
And within 3 or 4 years, he made this Air Force, which started with a very humble background, having very few propeller aircraft. Tempest was the name. And in early 60s, we had the latest jets. We had F-86 Sabres. We had bomber like B-57. And we had then the first supersonic aircraft in the subcontinent, F-14 Starfighter. So that was the beginning. And then we made our impact at international level at various forums. For example, we are going to talk about the aerobatics, so let me talk of that. First time, we started our aerobatics in 1951.
1951, you were there?
We were there.
All right.
And in 1967, when it was the jet age and F-86 Sabre had come to Pakistan, we made our team. And the team set a world record in 1967. And that was that 16 aircraft close formation loop was never done in the history of aviation.
Oh, wow.
All
That
right.
was the first time done by
And that was
Pakistan
too in
Air
1951.
Force. That was in 1967.
Okay, that was in
1951 were other aircraft.
Okay.
This was jet aircraft. And we set another record, B-57 bomber. Basically, bombers are not very agile.
All right.
They're supposed to carry a lot of weight, not many bombs, and in straighten level go and accurately drop those bombs. But they are not maneuvering well. So we carried out a 4 aircraft close formation loop with the bombers.
With the
which
bombers.
was again not done before.
And when we talk about a loop, it's like, probably going up
One
in the
vertical
air and then
circle.
Oh
Vertical
my
circle,
God.
you can call it.
with a bomber.
We had done that.
Wow.
So that brought Air Force, of course,
That's
at
amazing.
international level. Then 1965 war, because Marshal Azhar Khan within 3 to 4 years made a very small but very hard-hitting Air Force. And they proved their mettle in the 1965 war.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And that not only brought a very good name for the Air Force at international level, it brought Pakistan at international level. Immediately after that, we were requested to raise many Air Forces in the Middle East and Africa, and we have done that. Immediately requirements came for the pilots to go there and train their pilots. Not only we fought war here, we brought laurels back home. When we participated, our pilots, few pilots participated in 1967 Arab-Israel war.
All right.
And
Okay.
our pilots were the one who shot on Israeli aircraft. And we did the same in 1973 Arab-Israel war. Fighting from Syrian side, our pilots shot on Israeli aircraft. Probably we were the only one who shot on these aircraft. So after that, people start to send their officers for training to Pakistan. They start to get our pilots abroad for training of their pilots. And I think it is a wonderful name which Pakistan Air Force brought for the country.
Amazing.
And it's not just that. I mean, it's not just the 1965 or the 1971 or the 73 or the participations we have actually took part in all of those places. But I think even till date, I think that's how Air Force and all of our armed services are being taken, because we've got the best ever trained Army and the Navy officers, and then obviously the Air Force. But other than that, now, sir, coming back to a point where it's about 23rd March. And since in 2015, I was in the host booth as well, and I was there. I was rendering my services for the nation, and I started going to the venue on the 1st of March, and since then the training was going on, and I could see people, because whenever the Air Force used to come in, because it's like it's divided. First it's the Army, then it's or probably the naval submarines or whatever is going to go, and then afterwards, the Air Force comes in, where it is actually being led by the Air Chief himself, and then there was a wing commander this time who was flying the AF-16 as well and JF-17. So they have these radio controls. Everybody standing here and there, and then obviously the paratroopers need to come down, and that paratrooper team actually comprises of all the armed forces, which is Army, Navy, and then Air Force. So we'll talk about that later. But first of all, the most interesting part is when the training school jets come in. I don't know what do we call those jets, because I'm not an Air Force officer, but then what type of clearances do you require? And then obviously you guys are flying at such a low altitude as well. What do you have to keep in your head? And then why so early? Because all of your life you have been training, right? So you can just probably get up on 23rd of March, kickstart your aeroplane and then just fly.
Yes. Just two sentences before I answer this question.
Sure.
As you said, we brought a good name for the Air Force then. Even now, remember, our Air Force is participating in all the international
Exactly.
Yeah.
exercises. In every exercise, people have words of praise for Pakistan Air Force.
Exactly.
So that is being maintained even till today. As far as this fly pass is concerned, remember, this is not part of our fighter flying mainly.
Okay.
There we have dogfights, there we have air-to-ground firing and things like that. This is only for the public consumption that we do it. We don't do it generally.
Otherwise, it's not necessary.
It's not required.
Okay.
It does show proficiency of a pilot, how he can well handle the aircraft, but it's not part of the fighter flying as such. Secondly, we do many things which public may not be able to point out in case we make a mistake. For example, we're playing with seconds. We plan our run in seconds.
Yeah.
And I have been lucky. I have participated in many flypasts. I have the unique privilege of even leading behind the Air Chief flypast as good captain.
Amazing.
When I was commanding F-16 wing. And of course, I have flown with the chief also in two.
And which jet were you flying? I mean, this is so different to us, which jet
Yeah.
you were flying. Because usually you ask which car were you driving. This time it's different.
So
Okay,
I've
which
been
jet were
flying-
you flying?
I have been flying almost all the fighters which Air Force has in its inventory. But this time, when I was leading a flypast, I was flying F-16.
All right, and we've got the images from the 23rd March as
Yeah.
well. I don't know, I think we call them sherdils as well, and then there are different formations within it.
Yes.
Right, we'll talk about that, but yeah, continue, sir.
So why we start our rehearsals about 15 days back, because remember, it is a display of Air Force in the public. So we can't afford to make any mistake there.
Yeah.
Then I said, we are talking of seconds. I remember on the ground, people don't realize we're in contact with the man who is, as you have been in that control, we used to call it Shaheen control. And he is telling what's happening on the ground. We are a few miles away. And then he tells us, okay, that event has started, that event has stopped, now it is your turn to be here. And we have to be here on very precise time that we call in seconds. I remember when I was leading that fly past, when I was about to set course, something happened on the ground unusual, and he says, please don't come, there is a delay. How much delay, he didn't know.
And where were you? How far were you?
I was about 30 miles away, and that's not much distance
5 seconds
for us.
probably.
Probably.
2 seconds.
So
Depends on
I
the
said,
speed.
and I'm not alone. I can't harshly maneuver because so many aircraft are behind me.
Yeah.
And I know how I handled that situation. What happened, I will tell you after the program.
No, but right now. Why not now?
So that's why we carry out practice.
Okay.
So we plan, okay, somebody was 2 seconds early, somebody was 2 seconds late, somebody was a little high on speed, somebody was low on speed, height was not right. So we want to be perfect because remember, there's no margin of error in flying, and there's no margin of error in these aerobatics which people carry out.
Yeah.
So therefore, to be proficient, you got practice. That makes you proficient.
And in regards to the parade and the pilots that are chosen, who gets chosen to perform on the parades? And who decides this?
Already, the unit commander, for example, in case it is the sherdils, it's academy team.
Okay.
And the academy commandant, they decide, they make a team. And of course, this team was formed in 1972, and Sherdil name was given in 1974.
Wow.
Since then, they're performing. Initially, they used to perform only on the graduation parade. Then they started to perform on these occasions, and now they're performing internationally outside the country as well.
And it is fantastic to see them as well. I mean,
Exactly.
as a kid, I've always loved aeroplanes as well. My father
Same.
too. And then when my father realized that he cannot fly an aeroplane, he still wanted to be a commercial pilot. But now he just flies in the plane. He's not
Yes.
flying the plane.
But
as
we
well.
actually have a clip from 23rd March to show you. Let's go take a look.
And then when
we
you
come
guys are
back.
going to come back, we're going to talk about these formations. What are these formations which we keep on hearing on televisions? Pull up, pull up, pull up. Why do you have to say it 3 times when you're all alone as well? All right, let's discuss that.
Braveheart, stand by for bomb burst. Braveheart, bomb burst, now.
Braveheart, Wing Commander Ahmed Zia, Scholar Umar, Scholar Ehtisham, और Scholar Arbab Hussain.
Pulling up, now. Share the lake at 9. Peel off.
Ladies
now.
and gentlemen, the sherdils.
Right, so ladies and gentlemen, right now we're sharing images from 23rd of March Pakistan Day Parade where Sherdil team did a fabulous job, and obviously it's a squad of the training academy, and all of
Today's
these
sherdil
people are
formation is being led by Wing Commander
destined
Khalid
to do
Mati,
great things.
Officer Commanding Advanced Jet Training Squadron, PF,
Edward.
Academy Reserve.
5 and 6. Stand by to switch positions. Switch positions now. Rolling out. Sherdil 7 running in for tail slide.
Right. So, would you mind telling us about these little formations, because then you have to take another loop and you have to form yourself again.
Ladies and
Please
gentlemen,
kindly
now
let
you
us know
can
which
see
formation
Squadron
is this
Leader
and
Nawaz
how does it
pulling
work.
up with
This is
engine
diamond
throttled
formation,
back
you
to
see.
idle.
Diamond
Look at
formation.
it.
He is
looks like a
reducing the
diamond.
aircraft speed to 0
All right.
in vertical flight.
How
Ladies
many
and
different
gentlemen,
types of
now you
formations
can
do
see
we
the
have?
aircraft
I mean, for
is
example,
falling
if
down
we are talking about
just
fly
as
past
it is
them.
falling from the sky.
Fly past, generally we
Now you
have
can
this
see the
formation.
tail slide maneuver.
Only outer
Squadron Leader
aircraft, they
Taimur
change
will now gain
positions.
speed in excess
Others
of
we have
500
line
miles
astern
per hour.
formation, we have H-lawn
A
formation.
6G
There are
pull-out
a number
from
of
the dive.
types of
And
Into the
all
dive.
of these airplanes are
Sherdil
flying on the same speed, or how does it work?
Actually, I said it's very demanding exercise for 2 reasons. One is that you got to have same speed, same rate of pitch, same rate of roll. You just cannot afford to have even a difference of 1 or 2 knots. In case you have more speed, either you will overshoot or you will lag behind, you will not stay in position. And because of that, he tells you stand by to pull up now because he's going to start the pitch up. So he wants that we start our pitch up rate at the same time.
All right.
And virtually you're sitting in your own aircraft and you're flying leader's aircraft. We go to match each and everything of leader. He's flying independent aircraft. We got to match with him.
Yeah.
Secondly, it is a very dangerous or demanding in that sense also, because you are about 10 feet from each other.
This is one of the most
In
demanding
case
maneuvers to execute in
you
formation
lag behind or you move forward by 10 feet, you're going to hit another aircraft. That's why we have accidents in case pilots are not very proficient. One of the best teams which United States Air Force has, that is their Navy has, and it is known as Blue Angels.
Yes.
And they're known world over. During their history, they have lost 27 aircraft and pilots
Wow.
during these accidents because you can't afford to get closer.
And it's more than a century of history as well.
Yeah, they started in 50s, and 27 aeroplane is a very big number. And
Absolutely.
I remember recently I was watching a display which they carried out probably 3 years back, where this crisscrossing is taking place. One man make mistakes of probably 1 second, and 3 aeroplanes collided in front of the audience, and 1 aircraft rather fell on the audience, and they lost in one air display 3 pilots and the 3 aircraft. Similarly, UK has Red Arrows, and they have lost almost 20 aircraft in their history during these displays. So it's very demanding, very dangerous.
is.
Oh, okay, that's very correct of you saying that it is very
High
demanding
skill.
and it is very challenging. And then at the same time, if I'm not wrong, it is very dangerous indeed. So then why do we have to do this just to portray to people that we are capable of doing this? I mean, if it's dangerous, we shouldn't do it, right?
I think its reward is
I think that's what you do.
it's very good.
Yeah.
Its reward is very good because I've seen how important it is to raise the morale and commitment of the people to their country. In a polarized society, unfortunately, as we are today, I think these displays are very important. I've seen this thing from the ground. I've seen this thing from the air also, that how people get united, how they get motivated. On this 23rd March, I was attending the parade from the ground. So when this aerobatics team was performing, the way people were clapping, the way people were praising, the way people, you could look at their faces and find out how happy they are, I think it was worth. And similarly, I remember, unfortunately, we are not doing that now because of security reasons. We used to celebrate 6th September to remember our victory during 1965 war. We used to have a static display. At the bases, we would put our aircraft, our weapon systems, our radars, other equipment, so that people can come and they can see that.
Okay.
During that, we used to have, after a gap of every half an hour, air display, so that again people feel happy.
Okay.
So I remember in 1985, I was flying F-16 then, and we were celebrating that day, and I was to fly 2 missions. One was at 10:30. I had to take 2 places because F-16 has more fuel, so I had to perform at Sargodha and Shorecourt. And second mission was
And
at
one go.
in one go. Second mission was at 3 o'clock. That was the last mission because after that we had to wind up, so that before sunset all the civilians, they vacate the airport and we can have the security check and start to wind up the equipment.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock when I flew the mission at Sargodha, landed back, and I was, after switching off the aircraft, I came back to the underground hut, which is known as ADA hut. I was putting my flying gear there, helmet, G-suit, etc., and planning to go back home. I receive a call from the base commander that, Yusuf, are you fit enough to fly another mission? I said, yes, I am, but which mission? He said, people here are out of control. They're chanting slogans of Pakistan Air Force Zindabad. We won't go home unless we see F-16 aerobatics, and please do that. Otherwise,
like that.
these people are not going home. Okay, it's a law and order situation.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I quickly got another airplane, got into that. Generally, you're so busy in maneuvering the aircraft, you don't look on the ground. So because he had such something, so when I came for the first run, I looked on the ground, said, what's happening? I say entire base was full of people. I mean, you can't even drop a pin there. And they were dancing, they were clapping, And of course, I couldn't hear later on. I was told they was raising slogans as well, Pakistan Zindabad, Pakistan Air Force Zindabad.
Yeah.
Then when I was pulling up, then I saw not only the tarmac was full of the people, roads within the base, they were full of people. And when I pulled up, I saw the road leading to the base from Sargodha city was full of people again.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And mind you, it was quite hot. September is quite hot in Sargodha. There was no water arrangement. There was no food arrangement. All people were walking on foot because transport could not move in that rush.
Yeah.
And they were so dedicated, and they want to see that. When I performed, I was coming for landing. The air traffic controller tells me that base commander says, "Do you have enough fuel to go to Lahore?" I said, "Yes, I have, but what for?" He says, "Same situation is in Lahore. Please go to Lahore and perform."
They say 4 missions in a day.
And I went to Lahore, and again I was keen to see. Then new airport terminal building was not there. We were operating from the old terminal. And on tarmac, this display was there. The moment I made first run, I saw the entire tarmac was full of people, parking lot was full of people. When I pulled up for the left turn, then I saw a road leading to the airport was full of people.
Amazing.
And again, they're dancing. They're really crazy.
It is fantastic.
I think it is worth it. It must be done more often.
Exactly.
I think.
And no, that's wonderful that that the wishes and the morale of the citizens is really kept in the hearts of all everyone who's serving for the country. But now, that's the civilians, who enjoy it. It's to boost their morale, it's to show them that we have the skills and the ability and the equipment to protect ourselves. But for the individual pilot or for the Air Force as a whole, how important is it to see this kind of support and know that the nation is behind you?
I think they also take pride because what we do is in daily life that is not visible to the people.
Exactly.
We want that, okay, we tell people that their defense is in safe hands. That's number one. They take pride in their Air Force, so they should see that, okay, we are worthy of that pride which they have in us, and we want to show it to the people because they feel happy.
Okay, but then half of the time, sir, what happens is that obviously, on such displays and on such occasions, you're flying at a very low altitude as well. There's a big team, there are people who are actually following you, and any second, anything can, God forbid, if you're out of practice, can go wrong as well. So what are the other challenges which the Air Force or the pilots have to face on such occasions that, okay, now this is something, and it shouldn't go out to the public as a way as if, for example, they think that, we are non-professional. So obviously, whenever we talk about armed forces, that means that they're going to be on time. They're going to be punctual, they're going, and whatever they say, they're going to make sure that they prove their mettle as well. So if, God forbid, anything goes wrong, for example, a jet engine is not working. So what other plan B or plan C's do you have in the Pandora's box which you have to pull out all of a sudden? Because obviously for you, you knew that you had to do 2 missions, and then after all of a sudden, you got to know there's another one, and then you got to know there's another one. I don't know whether you have to drive back home from Lahore to Islamabad, but there can be quite a lot of hiccups as well. How do you deal with those hiccups then? Because this is where your probably talent comes in as
Training,
well.
yeah.
First of all, as you said, flying is such a profession, and there you can't take chance.
Exactly.
So we cater for every eventuality. During our briefs, during our debriefs, whatever can go wrong, we cater for that. For example, we remember emergencies, we practice our emergencies. I've flying career of more than 3.5 decades, and there are emergencies which never happened. But I could not take chance. I had to be prepared for that. Similarly, when we come for these, we have all the options available. For example, when he said, can you take off? So my standby aircraft was still unutilized, so aircraft was available. So I quickly jumped into the aircraft and went. Similarly, when they're coming for the flypast, we have standby aircraft on the ground, so that in case somebody aborts, so number is not reduced, we have standby aircraft in the air.
All right.
Anybody aborts in the air because some reason he has to go back, I will just come in, join in, and fly the same.
All right.
So, and secondly, flight safety remains the concern. Because anything happens that is not loss of equipment and the pilot, that entire mood would change. So that is another pressure we have, that we got to be perfect and we got to be safe as well.
Very nice. And now, sir,
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and recently on 22nd of March, there was a ceremony which took place.
Yes.
And I think it was at the Risalpur Academy as well. And then there was the renaming of the academy, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
What was the ceremony about? Can you share, please?
Yeah, it was on 22nd night, so that we start this change of name from 23rd March. Day is very important for the country. Remember, Air Marshal Asghar Khan has done a fabulous job for this country and for the Air Force. He is known as father of Pakistan Air Force. So we were thinking since long that how we can pay our tribute to this great son of the soil. And somebody said in his lifetime, I think, we should name some place. And then we said, which place? Then we realized he was the first commandant of the academy. That is the place from where, that's the nursery of fighter pilots and the officers of Pakistan Air Force. Why not name that? So on 22nd, I think it was worthwhile, that function. All the senior officers retired and serving, they gathered there. There was a function, there was a parade. There was supposed to be aerobatics at night, but because of rain, we could not do that. So despite his very weak health, he graced the occasion.
Wow.
He came himself, and there we made a plaque, and it was put there in his presence. And from 23rd March onwards, now this is known as PF Academy, Asghar Khan.
Amazing.
Yeah, for
I
Academy
think that
Asghar
was,
Khan.
he deserved it.
Amazing that is, and you know, when people deserve it, obviously you need to acknowledge that, and that's the
Exactly.
point where I was coming to, because
Great, 'cause I was gonna get
yeah,
that.
because you saw what happens is that obviously we get to see the aeroplanes, we get to see the fighter pilots performing right in front of us, but then there are aeronautical engineers, there's technical staff, there's radio control,
team.
there's ground staff as
Yep.
well, and all of you guys make it one of the best Air Force in Pakistan. So what would you say about your aeronautical engineers, people who look after the planes, people who are on the ground, because they have to be vigilant too, and even they cannot make an error which is worth causing somebody else's life or a plane or to change the entire movement?
I think very valid question. It is a teamwork. And the pilot, you may call him as captain of the team because he's the one who goes ahead. But behind that, a lot is being done.
Yeah, what happens?
And,
do you get to hear abusive stuff on your probably in-ear or your microphone as well at times when you make a mistake when you were a young cadet?
No, that is part of flying part, but that I can brief you. Because first answering the second question, remember being a professional Air Force and to be good, you got to be very tough when it comes to the training part.
Okay.
When we enter the briefing room for briefing of a mission, until we come out of the debrief after the mission, we are like enemies. You make a mistake, you have it. And they're very, very tough. And I keep saying this job is a very high pressure job for two reasons. When I was a junior pilot, I was scared that in case I don't fly well, this guy is going to chew me up because they just don't, we call them leader. Leader is going to let me have it. So I was all the time on the toes.
Yeah.
When I was commanding F-16 Squadron, mashallah, I had a lot of experience. I was commanding the premier fighter squadron of Pakistan Air Force. I was outstanding. I was rated as outstanding pilot. I was top graduate of Combat Commander School. It built more pressure on me when I used to fly with that junior pilot. I said, now I'm scared of him. The day he flies better than me or he shoots me in the air, because it is very tangible form, you're assessed in every mission. I said, I will be hiding my face that day. So again, I had a pressure. So during that, as you were saying, we are very tough to each other. We have to hear what you are saying, especially as junior pilots. Now coming back to the team, remember we have trust in each other. I used to tell when I was commanding F-16 Squadron, that when my technician and engineer tells me that this aircraft is fit enough to fly, I said, I see his signature. We have Form 781 where history of the aircraft is written.
Yeah.
We write our name, see what's wrong, what's right, then we take off. I said, nobody on this earth can even take a check worth few million rupees on your signatures. On your signatures, I risk my life because I have trust on him. When he says the aircraft is fit enough to fly, it is fit enough to fly. So that is one, that we have trust in each other. Secondly, how good they are. I think we're the first Air Force which has ventured into building an aircraft, the F-17.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it is a separate industry which builds the aircraft. Air Forces only fly. And our engineers, despite all the limitations, because we don't have very good industrial base in Pakistan, we have participated. We have made an aircraft in a very short span of time comparatively. and it is one of the best aircraft.
And I think at this point of time, ladies and gentlemen, we even need to thank China as well for
Yes,
their collaboration, because
definitely.
without them, we wouldn't be able to, or we wouldn't have had the chance to build our jets our own self as well.
Yes.
But sir, in terms of the equipment we have, in terms of the fighter jets we have, in terms of the inventory we have, where do you see Pakistan Air Force and all the armed forces in years to come? Because now it's all about deterrence.
Yes. Pakistan Air Force and even other two armed forces as well. Remember, from the word go, we know that our main adversary, that's India, is going to outnumber us. They will have more equipment. Maybe they would have better equipment, because they're making tremendous increase in their defense budget every year. Because of economy not doing very well, we can't afford that. So our training is such that we are used to fighting outnumbered. In 65 war, it was 1-to-3 ratio, and this ratio would stay the same. We want to train our people in such a fashion. We want to have cutting-edge technology, so that few aircraft, but very capable aircraft, so that we can do the same which we did in 1965.
Thank you very much for such wise words, sir. And inshallah, in days to come, obviously we are moving ahead with the pace which nobody else can match to as well. The progression's there, and above all of that, the best part is that we are all united, and then we're on the same page as well. I think that's what it is. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you so much for telling us all
Thank
of
you very
this.
much for coming over. Thank you very much for sharing
Sharing
your
our stories.
experiences. I think that's the only reason why I wore a blue suit today, because I
same.
wanted to look like as if I'm from the Air Force as well. And you can, if you're a true patriot, I think you can be from any armed forces. You can represent whatever you want to do, because you live in a free country. And that's when you get to know that you're free because of these armed forces, because they are the ones who actually look after us right now.
Exactly.
But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to move on towards the vegetable of the day.
Okay.
And today, let me see what we have picked up on. I think we have picked up on aloe vera.
Yes, so it's not a vegetable. We're actually doing plants. So
All
the
right.
benefits of aloe vera are.
Yeah, what are they?
The
Come on.
benefits of aloe vera are they are good for your digestion. They are good for rheumatoid arthritis. They are also good for muscle and joint pains. It's good for if you have heart reflux. It's good for
Then
that.
reduces cholesterol level, healthy for weight loss, for dental or oral hygiene, fights diabetes.
It's really good if you want to detox. It's good for gum health as well. And the list goes on and on and on. Aloe vera is a very good
And the best part, ladies and
Plant.
gentlemen, we still have another national song for you guys, and we're going to share it. But before that, we're going to wrap up the show. So
Yes.
do not forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of.
well this morning.
On Twitter,
Well this morning without a
on
G.
Daily Motion, and YouTube.
Well this morning.
And the fabulous repeat is going to be at
11:05 p.m. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Pakistan Zindabad. There's a national song coming your way. Enjoy that. Good morning. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.